Good evening. This is Atmospheric Alex here with another hurricane forecast and discussion coming your way for September 20th, 2024 on this lovely Friday that we are having today. Before we get started with the video, I again wanted to apologize. Have been uploading much lately. Again, I've been working on lots and lots of college work, and I've had little time to do videos, but luckily now, or I should say unluckily now that we have a lot of activity on the way, I will try and be back as much as possible. So our first product we're looking at is the National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook, and we can see what appears to be a gigantic orange that is formed here in the Western Caribbean into the southern Gulf of Mexico. You may be thinking to yourself, well, what does this orange signify? Well, if you look closely, it signifies that there is a 50% chance for tropical development over the next week. And this 50% chance also encompasses the threat for a tropical depression to form as well. So we will be monitoring this over the next couple of weeks, because some models show it developing earlier, some models show it developing later, and others show nothing at all. And we'll get to what I think could happen with this system. But before we do that, let's look at some of our sea surface temperatures here on the high resolution map. And at this point, there's nothing else I can say. We've been seeing this all season. Sea surface temperatures between 31, 32, even 33 degrees Celsius. And for you guys, for Fahrenheit, that is in the upper 80s to low 90s. This is just out of hand at this point, and hopefully very soon we will see these waters begin to cool off as we head into October, but no signs of that just yet. And along to go with our sea surface temperatures, we're going to look at the ocean heat we're going to look at the ocean heat content value map here, something that I really don't like looking at because it's just getting out of hand at this point. If we scroll down here, yeah, we have values well over 200 in some areas at this point. That is just ridiculous for a pretty large area, albeit. I mean, just take a look at that. That is absolutely ridiculous. Some of these areas getting up to or even over 250 units. Wow. I mean, think about this. This measures just how far down these warm waters go. And a value upwards between 220 to 250, that's basically historic at that point. And you do not want a tropical system to form here in the first place. Well, but unfortunately, we do have something forming here. That's not what you want to hear, right? Well, this is from the European model here. We're going to take a look at every single model that is available to us right now. We're going to start here with the European model. You can see this large area of energy that is just kind of sitting here in the Caribbean. Well, this is actually getting more into your Caribbean gyre here. So your Central American gyre system, that's what you would typically call something like this. When you have a bunch of moisture spinning up off the shores of Central America here. And we could see this really getting in on some action here as we head into Tuesday. Still very broad. You do have some weak spinach, though, that begins to form. And then we're only going to go 150 hours out because this thing, these models are being really ridiculous. You can see a broad, low pressure system here that's forming, barely even tropical at this point. It will gain tropical characteristics the days to follow. But for at least on Thursday, this might remain a bit of a discombobulated mess here. We're talking about a possible tropical storm with a pressure of 1,002 millibars. But this thing has an incredibly high ceiling, and we're about to take a look at that. We're going to look at your wind shear here, and you could see, it doesn't look that favorable right now, but you see this pocket here of lighter blues, even whites here. This right here is known as an upper level anticyclone feature here. And you could see as such you have an anticyclonic flow that begins to develop with your high pressure center, your upper level high pressure centered directly over where your system is going to form. And well, this will typically cause a lot of problems, and as you can see, whoop, went 6 hours extra, you can actually see, yes, this is going to cause problems. You have a perfectly favorable environment for this system to develop it now. It just has to get its size, kind of fixed. It's way too large right now. It needs to get a little smaller for a more consolidated center to develop. But, if you have something in the upper levels spinning this way, you're probably going to have something in the lower levels spinning the opposite direction, which will probably end up being stronger. That's generally what you like to look at with the Central American gyre systems here that we're seeing. Now we're going to look at our European AI model. Yes, believe it or not, the European model has delved into AI a little bit, and these models are actually quite accurate sometimes. And you can see here, nice, well-developed system here, nice little tropical storm just to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula. And where will it go? Nobody knows. It could go this way, or this way. And it all depends on this front up here, this trough that we're seeing here in the continental US here. You can see this is going to dictate whether or not it gets picked up, tossed off to your northeast, gets picked up a little slower, goes straight ahead, or it doesn't get picked up at all and just starts wandering westward, which we really don't want to see. That would make a stronger system. Now, alright, I'll go a little further out here. We're only going to take it to like about 170 hours out, and you could definitely see a well-defined, well-developed hurricane here that begins to develop. Yeah, definitely a chance of that. And this model shows it heading towards the panhandle of Florida. We really don't know if that'll happen yet, so please take this with a grain of salt if you can. Now on to your regular GFS model. This model, I swear, a lot of people like to use it to hypecast all the time. Well, I'm only going to take you 6 days out, because if I took you out any further, well, you'd probably do the same thing. So, we're looking here at our really discombobulated low pressure system here. I don't know, this is not correct. It would be localized right here, likely as a tropical disturbance and invest system at this point, trudging off to the northwest here, as you can see, and this continues to do so. And it tries to get more consolidated as it shoots the gap in between the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba here. This area is notorious for developing major hurricanes. I'm just going to kind of say that I'm not saying this system's going to become one, but you just have to start to wonder, especially where this could form here. History backs up my point perfectly, and you can see well-consolidated, well-defined tropical storm that begins to develop here, just off of the Yucatan Peninsula and Cuba area here as it shoots through the gap. Wind shear map, same song and dance, except this time it doesn't develop as fast, and I would like you to note your wind shear here begins to kind of, pinch off your system here a little bit. Kind of start, shearing off little slices, little zest of your system here, kind of fling it all over the place. So what's going to happen is it's going to cause your system to become disorganized, and not much strengthening will be allowed here. But of course, this is just the GFS model. There's many more to come after this, and we are still relatively far out. Now for your Canadian model, this is your precipitation type as always. You can see, well, it develops a lot faster here as it comes off. You get a piece of energy that flies off of Central America from the Eastern Pacific. Nice rotation that begins to develop here, and 1,000 millibars, probably a low-end tropical storm. This does continue, shoots the gap really well, and whoa, begins to develop into a low-end hurricane here in the Western Gulf, not the Eastern Gulf this time. And this will have a lot more time to strengthen here and to possibly move more up those areas. We'll just have to wait and see. Not saying that'll happen, but, just keep that in mind. Once again, my goal here is to not hype up the situation. I just want you all to understand what could possibly happen through loads of given scenarios. And I'm not going to be like some other people on YouTube who are going to start just freaking out the general public here. Now, let's look at your ensemble here. This is all your individual members here of your European model, your European prediction system to be more accurate. And you could see, I wish I could have zoomed in further. Each member here has its own line representing a spaghetti chart. And hey, you definitely do have some agreement here for something to form in the Southern Gulf. They're not being too extreme here. 980, 999 millibars, low-end hurricane looks like that is your general consensus. Some of these models do go a little more bonkers here. You even definitely see a few, major hurricane runs in here. I don't know if I would fully trust those yet. Come back to me in a few days and I'll tell you whether or not you should, if it's certain enough at that time. But general consensus is these head up into the Gulf Coast here. Where in the Gulf Coast? I don't know. We won't know for a few more days. So, with that being said, be careful with any forecasts you might be seeing online here. Any model images, to be precise. That being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Especially hope you enjoyed some of the fun little features I introduced in today's video. Again, be careful with who you're trusting online. That's all I got to say about that. That being said, feel free to leave a like on today's video and maybe even subscribe to my little corner of the weather community. Also, turn the bell notifications on if you wish, just so you know when I upload my next video, because schedule right now is really uncertain, as you can tell. That being said, I'll see you all later. Have a wonderful night, everyone.